I am Chris. This is my 17th time watching Star Trek.
And I'm Derek, and this is my first time watching Star Trek.
And this is 17-1, and this week we're watching, what are we watching?
Squire of Gothos.
3, 2, 1, engage. So yeah.
Squire of Gothos, man. This is, I wonder if this is the origin of kind of like the petulant god form.
Everyone thinks, coffee cups. Everyone thinks.
Yeah, when I first saw these coffee cups, I was thinking, oh, Chris is going to love this episode. They're everywhere. Like everyone on the bridge is drinking coffee right now.
Everyone. Out of the cups. It's great. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, obviously Trelane is a Q. He's a member of the Q Continuum. Whatever. There's a whole book about this stupid family.
So, wait, so Q is something that comes later, and he's a species of some kind, or?
In the Next Generation, instead of saying, look, guys, we're going to have 100 energy beings, because this is like our third or fourth one for the original series, just so far. TNG is like, instead of having, a new one of those every week, or 3 per season, or whatever, we're just going to have one. His name's going to be Q. He's going to represent the Q Continuum, and they're just going to f*** with us. Whenever. So, it's more complicated than that. I could spend the entirety of this track talking about my theories.
We'll get to it at some point, but it is kind of interesting to say that there's a god form that comes in later, so much so that they want to kind of tie it back to the original. I imagine because it gives someone somewhere some street cred.
I reject the connection between Q and Trelane, as much as I would reject it between Q and anything else from this period.
Fair enough.
But it is a theory plausible enough that there has literally been a book published about it.
Interesting. So I like how, like, a little bit earlier before this, they're talking about a star desert, which I thought was kind of an interesting notion. And it kind of gives you a little inkling into the writer's mind of how they're trying to associate what it would be like to be on space, or in a space mission, but not actually be a boat, be a starship instead.
Yeah. How,
Mr. Spock, like, you didn't hear Mr. Spock with those large ears, the big boinging sound?
The boinging sound. This episode has to do that. It has to balance the buoyancy with the danger. Trelane has to kind of be an ape with a handgun here.
Right. I don't know, I guess I'm so used to, like, someone in a navigator seat that's so young. Like, that dude in the navigator seat looks old as hell. Like, I was like, man, aren't you due for a promotion or something? Like, what's the deal?
Wait until the movies.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah.
But yeah, this gets kind of interesting with respect to I don't know if it's a trope, the flamboyancy character, like the character that's just, ha-ha! Tally-ho! Like that sort of thing.
Or like Aquaman and Batman Brave and the Bold.
Yes. And they definitely, it's one of those episodes for sure.
And that's, you can see the remastered planet there, lighting and stuff.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. I kind of like that. It gives you a sense of how unlovable it is with the thunderstorms and all.
It's a living planet. And usually you don't get that from planets in Star Trek. Right,
oh yeah, it's true. I forgot about that. When I watched through this, that it chases. Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean the planet chasing them. Is that what you're talking about? I just meant, like, you generally, like, they take a big ball and then they paint it and they stick a model in front of it.
I see what you're saying. So the remastered makes it feel as if it's a real planet that has natural meteorological events.
Right. And even if you're above Earth, like, the clouds are moving really slowly, so things are happening, but at the scale of starships on it, it seems very static. And again, there's nothing wrong with using that, but just good to see a little life there. So
I like how they kind of, there's a bit of a showcase. We've had a bit of a showcase of, like, different types of scientists, and here we have, like, a geophysicist or geological guy, and it's kind of interesting that like, I mean, you wouldn't expect a geology guy to have anything interesting to say, basically.
No, I imagine he's a lot like the dermatologist on Scrubs, where Spock has to wearily page him to the bridge. He just runs up. Geologist coming through.
I'm planet stuff. Yes.
His ridiculous specialty for a spaceman.
Yeah. Like, actually, I have everything that could be possibly interesting about geology tucked away in my brain already. You're pretty irrelevant, but they say that I have to have a panel, so here you are.
Yeah.
I kind of like this. I kind of like the whole. Usually, Kirk does the whole like, I'm entertaining theories. Like, hey, pitch some ideas, guys. I got nothing, and he's the one in the literal captain's chair.
It's always good when Spock is in charge. There's a whole episode about some of my favorites.
I do find I enjoy it when Spock is in charge. You can almost take the two, I don't want to say captaining styles or leadership styles, and kind of contrast them. And I swear there are episodes where it feels like Spock is kind of pulling a Kirk.
That's probably the case. Yeah, Kirk is a good captain. He's a good guy to learn from.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, and this is just pure Star Trek fandom, I think it's better to have that fire and ice in your captain, your commanding officer, your captain, your executive officer. Right. You get both of those perspectives.
I feel bad for the geologist here. Like, even with the heels that they're all wearing, he's the shortest dude.
Yeah, he's always be the shortest, right? It's usually McCoy.
Yeah, he's like, haha, sucker.
For once, I'm the most important person in this landing party.
Oh, yeah, stone, Jago.
You're just, wow. One time you need a geologist. That was not actually him testing the atmosphere. He was just ready to die.
It's like, oh, I guess we don't need a geologist. I'm kind of filler. Oh man, this sucks.
So yeah, you can see this is a pretty short set. When they do the little fighting later, it's honestly just painful. When they're trying to run around this.
The findings later.
The hunting and the fighting.
Oh,
when
yeah,
Trelane's trying to get Kirk,
yeah,
and they're like,
how like they're, all right, cut, all right, get back to the other side. I'm in a different way.
Reverse camera.
Yeah. It is. I mean, it's clever. It's a clever use of a very small amount of space, I imagine.
Oh yeah.
But it is somewhat like, all right, this is. So when I first saw this, I'm thinking, this is interesting. How willing. I mean, because you pitch this show as kind of, hey, it's these people on a space expedition. All right, cool, I'm down. All right, so in this episode, we're gonna have a medieval setting. I go, wait a minute. Hold on for a second. How are we going to fit this in? Like, oh, well, God forms. Yes.
Yeah.
God.
And that's, this is probably from another production with, a castle and 18th century thing. And
they got it on the cheap.
Yeah, and that, you see it later, and there's Nazi episode, there's caveman episode, there's cowboy episode.
Oh, what, really?
Yeah, Roman episode. Like I'm not saying that the scripts always follow what was available for them to shoot with, but a lot of, I think, the details of what they had to shoot with helped fill in gaps in the script.
I see. Yeah, it definitely, some of your earlier points about the transporter definitely kind of implies that they were set conscious. Hey, look, one of the monsters from the old episode.
Yeah.
Forgot which one.
No, that's the one where
with
it
the
looks
salt,
like McCoy's old girlfriend. Which is why McCoy's like, whoa. Okay.
Yeah, like how does he not have like some sort of weird flashback right then?
Yeah. All right, Sulu, if we freeze like this, they won't know that we were in a gay dance club.
He moves a little bit, like I can tell. I'm like, come on, man. Show some discipline.
It happens a lot, but it's so hard, the frozen shots. We get frozen all the time in this show. More times than there are two Kirks.
Yeah. The two Kirks things are. I can imagine that being difficult.
This guy, they actually. One of the writers, I believe, one of the producers, like it. He's perfect for this. He's the perfect British fop.
Yeah, yes. I wanted to use the word dandy, but fop definitely lands.
I know there's a technical difference between those two. I couldn't possibly know.
I found it was kind of weird. So, in like the space type of settings where they do the different colors, like they were kind of bathed in green. If you look kind of a little bit further on the right, there's like this shield that's bathed in red, and it doesn't really. It feels weirder in kind of this old setting than it does like in a space setting. Like look to the left of like that painting.
I don't know, but I have no doubt. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, you see, there's the shield.
So I can see that. Like this is supposed to be a muted, earthy place that we recognize despite its fantasticalness.
Right.
So
like kind of the red deals just kind of throw me off a little bit. I think it's interesting. Like there are a lot of like. So Trelane has a lot of like quirks about him, right?
Couple.
And he is insistent on talking about being retired. Like anytime he's like, he'll say, no, retired. I don't understand like why he makes that such a point.
Do you know anyone else, perhaps from your personal experience, who feels that like those sorts of flourishes on a character give them some amount of depth or realism? Because I do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. I could see that. It just knowing, like, when I was watching it the first time through, it definitely felt as if, it definitely felt like it was more real. However, watching it now, it's kind of weird now that I know the whole story. Yeah, we're talking. It's Squire, actually.
And that's part of his character because he's playing make believe, right? Like this is.
Oh yeah, so he's like, no, follow the rules, guys. Okay, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And just like kids get weird things stuck in their heads, so too does Trelane. Like the importance of his character being retired.
So yeah, childlike God form. It is interesting how kind of like Kirk is beginning. Like he always does this, right? Like anytime he's kind of in this situation, he's like, "Oh no, you can't leave." He's like, "All right, well now I gotta go and kind of poke you with a stick to figure out kind of where your weakness is."
Yeah, yeah. So it's always just the point of the omnipotent energy being. I'm sure I've said this before, is to make them powerless. They can't say,
right.
"Oh well, it's against our principles to do this thing, and that's our challenge." It's for them to go, "Hey, look, we are powerless against this. The only aspect we have is our mind and his flaws."
Yeah. And, I mean, it seems like there would be a protocol by now for how many, like as you say, they've already run through a non-trivial amount of God forms. It seems at some point in time someone would write a standard enterprise protocol for dealing with them.
It never happens. It's a flaw of episodic television where you're limited in the amount of inertia you can generate. That's one reason why you only get one omnipotent energy being in Deep Space Nine, because it's so continuity heavy. You can't really do much with it. It's great use of the mirror, by the way.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty clever that the mirror it has this kind of dual use, and yeah, like this shot right there is pretty good.
Yeah, it's included well in the frame, so you're aware of it. It dominates that wall that it's on.
Right. Builds suspense because he's like sneaking in a position, right?
Yeah, and it's used functionally within this part of the narrative, and it is of course Chekhov's mirror. So
Chekhov's mirror.
It will be.
I guess it'll be revealed later.
Yeah, and Anton Chekhov is a playwright. He said, "Hey, look, if you have a gun on your stage in the first act, you have to fire it off by the third act."
Oh, okay.
So it refers to an element specifically that's included that the audience is aware of that then becomes relevant later.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So that's what's making all these Chekhov's things.
I did not know that. I thought you were talking about like the the character of Chekhov that you mentioned is going to be relevant later.
Yeah, but that's the joke, and that Chekhov's gun is a trope, but then I can say Chekhov's anything, and there's literally going to be a Chekhov later. So he's sort of like a Chekhov's Chekhov.
Yeah. I do like, I don't know if it's kind of a flavor of the times, but it seems like any time you run to a god form, they always kind of talk about how, not just the primitive nature of like humans, but how they attack themselves, and they're the only creature on the planet that can't seem to live in harmony with it, etc., etc. And I have to say, I do kind of enjoy those sorts of tidbits of dialogue.
It's something you see coming up a lot in sci-fi because it is ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous the number of people who die from violence and negligence every year. Every minute, for crap's sake. And it's crazy. That is 100% preventable. All the human race has to do is to quit killing each other. Like, that's it. Right. It's like racism. Just, this isn't the problem. Like,
you're being
in America.
Stop it.
Yeah, like, it's not like, it's to come to grips with the socio-political ramifications of the Middle East and put an end to this conflict. It's just Americans. Don't be racist to Americans. What is your problem?
Yeah.
So you hear that message a lot in sci-fi, and it's generally like the least subtly delivered message in sci-fi.
Yes. It is just a declarative sentence that is exactly what they mean to say.
But as someone who personally would like to flip off the entire human race every single day, if I were to ever get to the International Space Station, I would just sit and flip off the Earth with two hands for 27 fucking sunrises.
Where's the guy at the window? Why did he just keep flipping off the Earth? Oh, no reason.
He reads the news is why. Yeah. So I forgive that. Who has a coffee? Everyone with the coffee cups. Made it. What a time to be alive. So
what a time. A woman in a captain's chair. What are they thinking?
So yeah, it does get a little tiresome, but it's always relevant. I mean, you can't say that it's not just the most ridiculous thing that happens.
Yeah. I mean, it does make you wonder though if a monkey or a penguin kind of kept good historical records, if there was some sort of penguin war that we're not aware of.
Yeah. Well, animals are dicks. I mean, obviously. Let's not pretend like they're blessed star children. Penguins will f*** you up.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, they will fuck you up in the sense of, like, any of their kind of biological desires. But I guess not for the sake of, hey, you don't believe in our imaginary being, you believe in a different one.
What an amazing time. Flags, to call back to the Eddie Izzard bit, where it's part of identity and security. You know, my flag is the one that's red and gold and green, and your flag is the one that's red and white and blue. Yeah, so,
obviously you have wrong thinking. I do like how he traverses the cultures so readily. It definitely gets the point across that he is an enthusiast of the times.
And it is interesting because he has a child's appreciation for factions, right? For flags and for these guys and that guys. And he understands them as factions, and he's enthusiastic about them as one would be enthusiastic about a football team. And that he roots for them, but has no real understanding of the differences, except through their fantastic little conflicts.
Yeah, he's this is where they're puzzling out like all these little subtle inconsistencies that are around the setting, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Oh, you're plotting against me." He's like, "Actually, no, we're just kind of figuring you out."
That's
martial virtue.
And Trelane likes playing the game as long as he has an advantage.
Yeah, the upper hand, right?
Yeah, he doesn't. He's like, "Oh, I love a fair sport. Oh, wait, this is fair. That won't do at all."
Yeah, and it's funny too because I guess if you look at it on kind of a macro level, he's missed a lot of details about like kind of the martial aspect, which Kirk just points out here that you must respect my duties. I want to know that means you don't get to play the game, so duties for losers. Have to stay here. As I want to know, that's actually part of being kind of a military man, even though the Starship Enterprise isn't a military faction, which I'm back to this again, right? Like,
yeah.
It's confusing.
It always comes up.
Yeah.
I was watching Star Trek 2 today. It came up again. I'm like, Derek's going to love this. So this and the fact that the uniforms are different, but the boots are exactly the same.
The boots are the same. That's great. I love that they all wear heels. It's so big. Yeah, like, so he perks up with the whole, like, oh, you have some women. I'm like, oh, man. Like, here we go. Racism countdown in 5. I mean, sexism countdown in 5, 4.
And
the petulant child reveals itself.
But whenever the sexism is coming through the lens of Trelane, it's obviously looked at as a bad thing, right? Where he says, oh, women have to be such a way. And you're like, well, you Trelane, you don't know you're from a stellar nursery. Just
right.
Yeah.
And I like how he makes this kind of error in judgment. Like, among of the many smaller errors, when you kind of get the reveal that he's really a child, it really kind of lands home that, oh yeah, all these inconsistencies are because he's just doesn't have the patience of maturity.
Yeah. That's everything he wants it now. And it's a good play. It's a good play on the, fop to play it as a child.
It was like click, Spock. Like, Spock just clicks and walks out. Like, what was that even about?
Look, it's part of the procedure, and he missed it. And Spock's just like, I'm OCD. Just not OCD, but I desire that things be done correctly.
I like how they needed another girl. Like, they needed another girl for, like, the ballroom scene. So now you have, like, this person you've never seen before that's a yeoman.
We call her yeoman random.
What's that?
No, I said we call her yeoman random.
Well done.
But yeah. She's just there to be a second lady.
Yep. Impudent act. I like how he's just got brass balls. Yeah, whatever. I did it. Whatever. Do something.
Spock, man. Spock don't shiv.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Spock promising he's going to f*** your mother up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I imagine if you're as strong as he is, like as they've kind of implied in previous episodes, and you're among like humans who are just basically weak, it's kind of like, well, I would have to fear a lot of things. I mean, yeah, someone turns a gun on me for sure, but I'll see that coming a mile away.
I'll see a gun on this velvety mother.
Yeah, I ain't afraid of none of that. Yeah. Come and attack me. I do like this. There was no boing, there was no, like, hey, everyone pause while we stop the shot and then start it again without you there.
Yeah.
It was just a seamless transition. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's good. And that's because everything else was so boing, right? Wherever he does do something that's seamless, it seems effortless.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That is a good point. That it's a display of power. It's like, hey, I'll kidnapped you off your own ship, and it was in the middle of the sentence.
Yeah.
And so, although I do kind of want to point out, in this episode, Sulu he's like the glue of, like, he's like the chaperone for everyone that isn't Kirk. Like, he's, like just then we saw him, like, oh man, it's too late. And like, he's kind of showing up. He's like, oh, what do you mean he's dead, McCoy? Like, he's kind of, almost like the audience. He's like, yeah, I'm kind of following along, or I'm keeping, the B Squad in line.
Yeah, that's, Star Trek struggles to give all their main characters room, and they still have supporting characters with relevant roles. So, yep, man, Nubian Pride has to mention that she's not white. How strange! That's aliens.
Yeah, we still recognize race.
People.
Like
white people.
Like, oh well, the Nubian Prize, play the piano. I obviously wouldn't want to dance with you.
Yeah. Well, remember when this thing was made, that still might have caused minor riots. I mean, there are episodes here that just didn't get aired because of that. I like this too. Like, I love how he knows enough about social protocol to be able to say, oh, you want to do this whole introduction thing, huh? Well, stop messing with the ladies and let me introduce you to Spock. Yeah.
You want some? I like this high objective.
It's a good set of principles to lay down.
Yeah, like I really I want him to be my mentor now. I enjoy not only how he just laid down the law, but how he laid down the law just so matter-of-factly.
Yeah. Of course, Trelane, being a child, can't understand any of that, so he's just like, "You're being mean to me."
Yeah.
Which
Let's
is
do fun things.
Yeah. Insert snide political remark about the current state of political discourse here. So,
the Kirk ever vigilant. It's weird. It's kind of weird to me. Like when I first saw this, I'm thinking like, why are they eating? Like this could all be poison. Like what? Like don't they have any sort of like discipline? But then later on, you're like, hey, this wine's crap, this steak's crap. Like, okay, well that's kind of poignant.
Trelane wouldn't poison them. He's committed to his character. But
yeah, but they don't know that. I mean, to me, if you're any kind of regimented organization, whether you're military or space exploration, when you're in a strange land of this dude, you don't know. Like he's obviously in control. It seems like you hold off from kind of partaking from food for as long as possible.
It's just your role-playing side talking.
Yeah, I guess so.
Besides, that was brandy, sir. They could have gotten a buzz on. They're working, sir. Working sober.
Flavorless buzz. It's not in brandy, but it's brandy nonetheless.
That's the worst part. This is when McCoy finally turns on Trelane. He's like, I was kind of entertained before, but he gave me brandy that wasn't alcoholic.
Yeah,
he's going down.
I mean, that's bullshit.
McCoy should just break the glass in half and shiv the dude. Unacceptable.
On the corner of the table, it's just like, I'm done with this. Bam, bam, bam.
That's how we do it down south. DS represent.
Yeah. Gulf Coast. So this, when I saw this, I found myself curious about where the period of dress, mainly because I wanted to know what society thought this. You would make a dress that you'd have to hang part of it on your wrist, so when you danced, the appropriate dance was just have one arm flailing about.
Well, she could. Yeah, that's a good. Maybe they had loops on the bottom.
Well, yeah. Well, there's like a. But I mean, you made the dress that way, so you had like kind of this weird flow. But just, I couldn't take my eyes off of the fact that her arm was just like flailing about. And I'm sure it's correct. I'm sure it's a correct type of dance.
Alligator. Like this place is so poorly decorated because a child decorated it. I
can see that. It is very gaudy. Like even from like the Baroque period, there's so much clutter, like from like piece to piece, that it makes you wonder if like the set designer was either incompetent or wanted to showcase that.
Well, yeah, I think it's Trelane's mission. Where it feels like these are all just toys he has laying around on the floor, and he imagines it looks like the internal room of a great estate. And so he manifests how it looks to him. So that's like a stuffed alligator or something, and then like a half of a Roman soldier guy in the middle on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Aliens that you can evaporate.
Ah, Kirk, your relentless gambling. You really need to see a professional about this.
And they definitely did the thing where they had a plan and they explained it with a simple metaphor.
Right. And look, you get everyone's in the shot, but you're only shooting half of it with that mirror. It's so great.
Oh yeah, I love mirrors. One of my favorite SNL bits is the Californians, where like they all, as they cut to commercial, like everybody gets in the mirror. It's great.
Yeah. I do kind of like how he's playing. Like it's so not Kirk what he's doing right now. Like the audience knows that he's playing into him. Like, hi, he's got you. Here you go.
Doesn't even flinch. It's great.
Yeah. You have that courage. Like he's all excited. It makes you wonder if there's like a constant change to this dude. Like he just, I think you shoot me, it doesn't matter. I can't remember if they actually hurt him in any way.
I don't think so. I mean, the actor himself dislocated his shoulder during the fight scene.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and then what happened is that, I think it's when Kirk's about to hit him.
Menacing. Sorry.
So he dislocates his shoulder, but then Shatner's still going to hit him. He doesn't know. So he throws his arm up to protect himself, and he pops his shoulder right back into place.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when he was handling that flintlock, he almost like looked in the barrel. I'm like, no, Kirk, no! That's how they get you. That's not how you use primitive weaponry. Don't look in the barrel.
See, gun safety, kids. Gun safety.
Yeah,
not you,
yeah,
guy
exactly.
on the left. It's not safe enough.
And what I want to know is, how does he know how to use this? Like, he's never even seen a mechanical, like, weapon before. The fact that he's just kind of handling it so cavalierly is interesting to me.
He has actually seen primitive weapons before. They
like
cover
in
that
museums?
in another episode. I don't want to talk about Star Trek 2. I mean, I always want to
Fair
talk
enough,
about Star
fair
Trek
enough.
2.
Yeah.
He has had other missions to other worlds with different levels of technology. So, and he pulled the trigger.
Yeah. I like how he's changing the rules of the, as Kirk put it, the honor field game, which isn't really a game. It's, it's a duel, a straight up duel.
But he's a child. It's all a game to him. Like Trelane himself really can't get hurt because he's just another action figure, right?
Right.
Sort of what?
I thought he was more of a personification. I thought it was just kind of like, in addition to kind of changing their, kind of their surroundings, they also changed their shape.
But it's still just an extension of physical matter when he's not a physical entity, right?
Yeah,
it's just
I can see that.
Kind of a tune that he's pushing around the screen.
I guess in my mind, I think it's more of a costume less of a toy.
Yeah, and that's this. In this context, I think there's very little difference.
Yeah. I got you, sucker. I got you.
Haha, now we will end your power and restore the hellish atmosphere of this. We didn't think this through.
Yes. We didn't think this through. We're all going to die.
Where's the geologist? Use him for shelter.
Cut open his belly. Everyone climb in. When the machine dies, it's kind of funny because they're like, what? Morning? I'm like, what is this, Scooby-Doo? Like, why are we... He's all mad. I'm going to go pout. I'm going to pout in the corner. I'm going to be really mad, and we're going to start fighting. I'm tired of this. But it is interesting that now that I'm watching this again, I wonder what is the machine for? If this all of his power itself, I guess maybe the machine was made by his mom or his dad or something.
I'm pretty powerful compared to an ant, but you give me a magnifying glass, those ants will burn.
Yeah, so maybe he just kind of constructed some device to kind of offload a little bit of the logistics of using his power. Kind of like some tool of some kind.
Yeah, like an iPad.
I think it's kind of weird. Like this is behind of the Enterprise because they're leaving. You see like the proverbial exhaust from those two things at the end. I love how she hasn't changed.
Yeah. Sorry,
but like I forgot this part. I forgot how she's just chilling out in like this period dress. Why is she? Pull this over. I don't know how to feel about that little interplay, but in my mind I'm thinking, it seems like that would be protocol. It's like, all right, I'm getting out of this, get up, someone take over my ship for a second.
Well, I guess they were all, they went straight back to duty, which is expected of them. And then she's like, hey, look, obviously there's some paperwork to be done, but can I do this? Captain's like, yeah, it's, party's over, and that's supposed to be us knowing that, oh yeah, we're free and clear now. Never mind the fact that it's only 6:45.
Right. So. Or are we?
Yeah.
What I find is kind of wacky about this, like there's kind of some zaniness to this episode, and part of that, aside from the sound effects, is just the maneuverability of this planet. How it's going from side to side, like you see it in the viewport going side to side. It's kind of wacky.
So I don't know what the original effects were like for this. It feels Doctor Who-ish, because I guess it's the only context I've ever seen a planet move under.
Yeah.
So,
I imagine it's just kind of like a string with like some dude just kind of dangling it back and forth.
I mean, this is all CGI, and I don't remember what the original effects looked like, you know?
Yeah.
If it was just like the Enterprise and then like the planet, and then it goes like they're inside like da 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 da. That's right in front of the still. Da, 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 and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
So.
And now we see Kirk's nobility. I'll do whatever it takes.
Hey man, sometimes the captain's got to beam down to the planet to face the malicious, omnipotent energy being face to face.
Yeah.
Mano a mano.
So this is some more kind of zaniness. We have like a different type of setting, a different type of context, as far as like the conflict is concerned.
Allegedly, they put shooting on hold for a day to get this frickin' wig.
Really?
Allegedly, just to find one in his size, which I'm like, guys, you still didn't get it right.
Yeah, no, I can see, I can see hair underneath, and B, that wig looks horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty awful. So I think they just compromised, because Shatner's like, what? That wig. Just shoot it today.
Yeah. My hair, it's immaculate. Oh, well.
And this actor's like, no, I want a wig. So they decided to wait a day and get a wig. So...
So the shadow of the noose seems pretty dramatic. Like it
That's
seems
good.
melodramatic, but I also would agree that it fits here because of the kind of childlike nature of this sort of thing.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that works too, because that's not the kind of thing you show your kids, right? You show the shadow of things happening. That's how a lot of Disney villains die that way.
Right, yeah, exactly. You never see people get kind of ripped apart. It's just a shadow of someone getting ripped apart.
And indeed, the shadow of the noose is probably more intimidating than the actual noose itself, which is just
Definitely.
a bunch of rope. Said the man who'd never been hanged. But
no one's ever been hanged. Well, if anyone in recent memory has ever been hanged. Well,
Dude.
not legally.
Yeah, not legally. But then again, you can go back 50, 55 years, or about this era, the 10 years before, motherfuckers are getting hung out illegally all over the place. So,
yeah, definitely sad stuff.
Yeah, it was
Is that
bad.
carpet? Yeah, look, is that carpet underneath that wig? What the hell?
Bad. We don't know. Maybe the original wigs that they had in trials were just this awful, unconvincing.
I don't know. Maybe I think this is just a poor judge's wig. That's what happened.
Don't know.
A judge in like some back. Oh, you can see the. I wanted to point that out. You can see the shadow of where one of the set pieces was there. Like it had like some kind of burnout. I don't know exactly why that was there, but you could see a shadow of the previous shield set pieces on the wall, like by the noose.
Yeah, no doubt.
I think you might get a second shot at it.
It's kind of close. But...
Yeah, you're not going to see it, I guess. And so here it's like, okay, cool, so you're going to let him go then? Like, got to be angry, that's good, right?
No point in history ever had pants that green.
Yeah. Some frills. Well, they probably had a lot of frills. Yeah, and he's like, nope, you're still gonna... Yeah, I was wondering about that too, Kirk. I was wondering if he was expecting you to just hang yourself cheerfully and obediently.
Well, like children, he expects other people to play his game with the rules that he makes to make him happy.
Got that.
And true to our expectations, the noose is a little unimpressive.
Yeah, it is. And what I do like how he's like, oh, well, let's gamble some more. How about a nice, are you familiar with the most dangerous game of all?
Yeah.
The hunting of man.
Oh, what are you going to do, Trelane? Kill him?
Yeah. That's how humans respond in a corner, man. We just go for it.
That's the thing. He's come to understand Trelane, and now he's just going to...
And it definitely feels like, I think that it's easy to look at Captain Kirk's kind of antics and say, oh, he's such a masterful strategist. It's like, I really don't think so. I think he just pokes things with a stick and then until he finds a way out, and he or creates an opening and he just takes it. He exploits that opening.
Yeah. That's fair.
A human life. Mine.
Maybe he's I think he is thinking, he is calculating, but he's getting that response.
Yeah, and like how excited this dude is pretty funny. Because, and see, look, he just casually stops him. Like, if anything should have red flagged you that this might not be a good idea, it's the fact that you were about to just casually kill him and he stopped you from doing it.
There's no red flags for Trelane. He's doing that thing where he's like, wouldn't it be better if this was more fun? Oh, it could be more fun than this. Oh, wow, there are things that could be more fun than this. No. More fun than that. I've just had a brilliant idea. Like, he kind of leads Trelane there, and Trelane just eagerly hops into it.
Like, oh, it could be polar. Yeah. It's like, war stinks? It keeps getting better and better. Basic determination so hard to break the fourth wall, isn't it, Kirk? You're like, don't look at the camera, don't look. But they can see how beautiful I am.
Yeah, good luck trying to hide on these 30 square feet of fake shrubbery.
No, good for you. You have to try to hide, even though you can walk across this entire set in 30 seconds. Yeah, I do like kind of how the first bit of this chase is him trying to make contact. And some of this stage fighting is kind of funny as well.
Yeah. But again, I don't need like crazy kung fu action. I just need to understand where each blow lands and why it lands.
Yeah. Yeah. Why is that? It's too easy. How come you killed yet, Trelane? Jeez.
Because Trelane's winning. Trelane feels like he's winning. I'm now 5 feet further from the man.
Yeah, 5 feet further, out of breath, Kirk, trying to contact Enterprise. I do like kind of like these little interposed between the chase, these kind of conflicts they have, where you knock the branch off the tree, and now we're going to get like this Tarzan kind of double kick. There it goes. It's like, now I have the sword god form. Now what are you going to do?
Mm-hmm. Trelane is such a dick.
Yeah.
That's right. Now it's the best 2 out of 3.
Why did you throw away the sword, man? Might have been harder for him to take it from your hands. He didn't do it initially. I do like the, I think this isn't done enough. We have this concept of a sword, like, wood's better than a sword. So, you can't use wood to defend yourself, but it's a very capable way of defending yourself against a sword, at least temporarily. I find you don't see that a lot in movies, and I think you should. Like, any kind of wooden weapon against a sword weapon, it isn't going to just chop through it like a lightsaber.
I like the concept of the improvised weapon breaking.
Yeah,
improvised weapon.
Frustrated now. Like, well, you shouldn't have thrown the sword. Maybe he would have made another one. You don't know.
You will never forgive him for.
That's an error in judgment. That's an error in judgment, error in tactics.
We're watching Star Trek Generations. The bridge is going to land on William Shatner, and you're going to be like, "You shouldn't have dropped that sword way back in the day."
Yeah,
20 years ago, you regret it now, don't you?
It on your head the whole time.
Bet you wish you had a sword to fight Soren with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and excited. Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's what it... And that's the heart of this conflict, I guess. Like, you have to earn the things you win. You can't just set it up to win from the start and then declare victory, because you've overcome nothing.
I do kind of like how he's, like his...
It wasn't a very good sword in the first place.
This was never a weapon to begin with.
It's like it's made out of balsa wood or something. Like worse than the other wood that I had.
We don't know.
Sorry. Those pimp-slapped are great. They're just iconic.
What we don't know about Kirk's knee is that it's a cyborg knee that can break a knee. Uh-oh, Mom, Dad are home.
But no, that's the second time he's grabbed the blade of that sword and not given any about it.
Yeah.
It's an awful sword.
And on top of that, I'm pretty sure, like, the inside of his fingers were, like, on the blade end. Like, he definitely could have cut himself.
Yeah. If it was a good sword, but...
I do like how he's changed his kind of attitude and his demeanor here. Like, you really get this sense, like, oh, okay, he is a kid.
Well, it's completely consistent with everything he does before. Now he's just a kid who's in trouble, who's like, come on,
right.
It's okay.
Yeah, but I just think that, like, he was so kind of confident, like, dun dun dun, Mom and Dad, I was winning.
He's great. They wanted to put Roddy McDowell in here, but they brought this guy in. He did like 2 sentences or 2 paragraphs, and they're like, "Yeah, you're done. Go to costuming." You got it.
Never having any fun. Makes you wonder, kind of what. Makes you wonder, like, what their society is like. It's very. I mean, I get it's interesting. Like, what do they want for, how they engage with each other. And he just kind of says this blade disappears. A wood.
It's a good resolution.
Disturbed. It's an understatement God form.
Yeah. And then they're kind of aware of their place in the cosmos. They're like, we're sorry, we didn't f this up. We're 1,000,000 times more powerful than you, but we made a mistake.
We wouldn't have let them done that had we realized their vulnerability. Like, really? You didn't realize, like, how weak we were by the fact that we weren't defending ourselves in any kind of way?
But they're cool about it. They try to smooth things out. And
I don't know. Like, I know that they're just green blobs on the screen, but in my mind, they were just kind of like rich yuppies from like Beverly Hills. So like, oh, you must. We do indulge our child. So here's $1,000. Please buy yourself a new car.
Well, they explain in detail how they f***ed up.
Yeah.
So they're just like, whatever. Because there are a lot of omnipotent energy beings, and I speak from extensive personal experience watching television shows, who are dicks.
Yeah.
They're just like, we're all powerful. Whatever. Our ways are mysterious. Fuck off. These guys stick around to say, hey, look.
Yeah,
we're sorry.
Bad.
We failed on a couple counts here. So. And here, Kirk underlines the duality of Trelane.
Like,
okay. He knows how to use the gun, and the inkwell thing does not sit well with him.
Yeah. I thought the inkwell thing was kind of a little weird, too. I was like, like, you're on a spaceship, Kirk. You're on a spaceship, you shoot a phaser, you sit in a chair. How in the world are you even talking about inkwells? How are you talking about it's a childlike prank to even use inkwells in the hair? Like, the fact that you even know about inkwells is weird to me, Kirk.
You got to go to a lot of trouble to do that in the 23rd century.
Yeah,
like
must have been like some rich parents.
Yeah, it's like, here's ink. the not Shatner's. The Kirkses have a long history of dipping women's. It's part of our mating rituals. It's part of our rich cultural history, carried over from the 18th century.
Yeah, in the ancient times of the 21st century, we were ink robber barons. So we keep a little bit of ink to remind ourselves of our past.
I don't know. It's dumb thing. It's like when they go to the memory banks and they're presidents, and they're like, presidents up to Kennedy, and you're like, ooh, watch out there.
Hold on.
All right, I believe our next one is, what are little girls made of, right?
Yep, that sounds right.
Yeah, 17-1 out.